And it looks like the news conference is just about to get started. Let's listen in again. Eric Cooch with the Portland Permitting and Development Director there.
And I'd like to introduce Eric Cooch, the Portland Permitting and Development Director, who's going to give some remarks about the demolition here at the Centennial Mills site.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Eric Cooch, and I'm the Director of Portland Permitting and Development. Today marks an important step in addressing the dangerous conditions at Centennial Mills. The first phase of demolition is expected to begin around 2:30. The water tower will be taken down first through a controlled demolition using explosives. Once the water tower is safely down, the contractor will assess the remaining structure before moving into the next phase of the demolition. We have worked to notify the surrounding community about today's activities through public alerts and direct outreach. Once the water tower is removed, the contractor will begin dismantling the remaining walls. Their best estimate today is that it could take about 2 weeks to reduce the building to roughly half its current height, but that is an estimate. The condition of the structure and how it responds during demolition will ultimately determine how quickly the work can proceed. We will continue working closely with the property owner, their engineer, and the demolition contractor to ensure that the rest of the demolition is handled safely and expeditiously. This remains a dangerous area. Please stay away from the site for your own safety. Please do not enter the safety perimeter. As we reach this milestone, I want to take a minute to reflect on all the expertise and hard work that got us to this point. This is not a simple demolition. It requires careful coordination among multiple city bureaus, state and county agencies, the railroads, the property owner, and the demolition team, all working together to protect public safety, public health, and the environment. I want to thank all of our partners for their cooperation and hard work in getting us to where we are today. We also appreciate the public's patience and understanding throughout this effort. We will continue to provide updates on the city's website, portland.gov, and we encourage everyone to sign up for public alerts if they have not already done so. Thank you.
Nice beer. Speaking of those public alerts, I was talking to a handful of people. It seems like they were told it would come about an hour before the explosion. They got it 40 minutes. So there was like a 20-minute delay.
Yeah.
Why did that happen? And you said sign up for more public alerts. How are we going to correct that for the future?
Yeah, this situation, we did our best, right? This situation remained very fluid. We were given multiple different times today because, the reality is it was subject to what happened in the field, right? So ultimately, we did our best with communications, and we'll try to do a better job in the future.
How many blasts will there be, and about how much time between each one?
Yeah, so there's going to be a total of 4, and they're placed towards the base at each leg. You can see where they're currently wrapped on the leg of the water tower right there. And I'm told that the legs that are closest to the river will detonate first, and then subsequently the other legs will detonate. But we're talking about fractions of a second difference.
Do you guys have a plan in place if the building comes down today?
We are prepared for anything, right? So that's something that we did plan for in case it does happen, and it's certainly a possibility.
What is the Oregon DEQ doing to monitor the air around the building?
I don't want to speak on behalf of DEQ, but I do know that the demolition contractor is working closely with DEQ to ensure that the building comes down in a safe manner.
What's the worst case scenario that you game planned?
Oh, I don't want to get into all the different scenarios, but we did game plan for a number of different ways that this could go wrong, but hopefully it doesn't. I'm confident that this building's going to come down safely, and we can all move on.
Okay, and about how much time again between each of the blasts, do you know?
Seconds.
Just seconds,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the idea for it to come directly down.
Correct.
How does that work with
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So the goal is to have the water tower fall within the footprint of the structure. Regarding your question about the human remains, I don't want to speak on behalf of Portland Fire and Rescue. However, we have been working closely with them in the way that we demo the structure. And the reality is that they can't enter the structure while it's so unsafe. We have to get the site safe so they can enter the site and search for those human remains if there are any.
So the idea is the water tower won't hit any of the walls, it'll just come straight down.
That's the goal.
Right.
Correct.
Why is the lock zone 300 feet? Are people standing right here when this comes down? Would they be safe if debris goes flying?
Yeah, I believe we're at 400 feet right now, and I was told by the engineer and the demolition contractor that 300 feet perimeter is good. So, I'm relying on their expertise for that safety perimeter.
Is today just focusing on the water tower, or can we expect to see other parts of the building come down today as well?
Correct, yeah. So today's primarily focusing on the water tower and monitoring how the building behaves post-detonation, right? We're going to learn a lot on what happens after those explosives detonate and how the building reacts to that.
How many people in the neighborhood are concerned about what's going to be left afterwards, the dust, the asbestos, especially in the park? They've got pets.
Sure.
What is the city doing to make sure that we're mitigating that, cleaning that up, and
Right.
making sure it's safe for people and their pets to walk in this neighborhood?
Right, we're working closely with the contractor that the building owner hired, as well as that contractor is working with DEQ to make sure that it's cleaned up in a way that's not harmful to the environment, that's not harmful to people, and we're going to make sure that it's cleaned up safely.
All right, we just have time for a few more questions.
How many stories in the building, and does it have a basement like so many buildings of this era did?
You know what? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'll have to get back to you with an answer to
All
that
right,
question.
will you be available afterwards to comment on this?
Actually, I wasn't planning on it.
We can follow up
Yeah.
offline, make sure you get an answer.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, how you thought it went and all that stuff.
Has
Okay,
the
sure.
city had to front any costs related to this, or has it all been on the owner?
It's all been on the owner.
Do we know how much that's been an estimate?
They didn't share that information with us.
Does that include like overtime and labor that's going towards all this, like this press conference?
No, indirect costs. Yeah, that does not include indirect costs.
All right,
Have
one
you guys-
final question, then we got to let Eric go.
The trains, have you been in communication with the train companies to ensure that they're not going through during and
Correct.
after that
Yes.
demolition?
Yeah, we asked Union Pacific not to run any trains through the site while we're working, right, to make sure the site's safe for the folks, working to bring down the water tower.
Were they responsive to that?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
So.
Thanks a lot, Eric.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
you
Thank
being
you.
here.